So now you have selected your beachhead market, and it is time right now to determine your end user profile as well as your customer persona. This is extremely important because you need to further segment the beachhead market in order to understand who is your customer. This is extremely important because there's one criteria for a valuable business, which is you need to have a paying customer. So let's look at this. So we start first with the end user profile. So what is the end user profile? You want to make sure you understand the person who really uses your product at the end, not the economic buyer who purchases the product or has the purchasing power, but the end user. So the person, again, who uses your product in the company you're selling to. So what do? So first of all, you make sure that you understand the whole decision-making unit within the company. That means you need to understand who is your end user, who's using the product, who is the economic buyer, who is buying the product, who are the influencers, and then what are other people or parties involved in the decision-making process when it comes to the company purchasing your product. This is extremely important. So the first step here is, if you determine your end user profile, identify the product, the people who want to use or purchase your product. This is incredibly important here. Second, why do you need an end user profile? Because it also helps you and your team to really focus on this particular person in your daily business operations. So you want to make sure everything you're doing is directed towards this customer, that he or she are very more likely to buy your purchase your product in the future. Secondly, it is really to also validate or invalidate whether your beachhead market is the right one. And if it's the wrong one, obviously you have to pivot very fast. So developing a customer persona and the end user profile helps you with that. And finally, how do you create an end user profile? You're going to go through several steps, and we will discuss this in the next couple of slides. So first of all, you build an end user profile based on certain characteristics. The first one is demographics. So you're going to choose, for example, gender, age range, the level of education, the income range, or the geography of your potential customer, and narrow your end user profile down. Secondly, you look at the psychographics, which are motivational characteristics. So for example, what motivates your end user? What do they fear? And this is obviously hard to obtain, but it's very important to get that information because that helps you actually in the later process to develop your go-to-market strategy or your marketing strategy. And finally, for this slide, what are the watering holes where those end users meet? So what kind of LinkedIn pages they're going to use, what kind of social media they're using, are they going to certain kinds of conferences? So you need to identify where you meet your potential end user. This is important. Next, what are proxy products? So this is important because you want to understand the products the end users buy based on their behaviors today already. So this gives you some information about what kind of products they like, what the current situation is they're facing, and if their pain point is already solved with those products, or if you can add a solution which actually provides them with a lot of value. So there's a good example for that. So somebody who's owning solar panels on their rooftop is very likely to also buy a Tesla. So you can make that analogy to different kind of sectors and different kind of products. So also based on that, you can further narrow down your end user profile. And then ideally, you have a day in the life of your end user, because this daily behaviors and actions really make you understand how your end user operates, how he or she works. And this is really important to understand their pain points, to understand their daily tasks, and align your product offering or your service offering to those points. So this is very important to consider, and that is what you should do as a first step when creating your end user profile. So let's swap a little bit and focus on the customer persona. So what is a customer persona? So the customer persona makes your end user profile tangible. Your customer persona is in fact a real person, a real customer you already have, an initial customer, and you obviously change some names to keep this profile anonymous, but it should be a real customer, and all your efforts of your team should be aligned to serve and to cater this customer's needs and requirements. So I mentioned already, your team must understand that persona to have a really laser focused approach and daily operations on that customer. Cert, if it's a real person, obviously you need to ideally get this person somehow involved and like make this person happy and excited about your company, because then this person is even willing to share more information. And obviously you need to consider some privacy aspects. Otherwise, this is a great way to create your customer persona. And then it enables really to allocate all of your resources of your company and the time of your team towards this customer. And this is what you want to do. So that's why the customer persona is really important here. So how do you do this? So what is the approach of determining a customer persona? So you're gonna choose one end user who best represents your customer profile. This is the first step. Like I mentioned, the person should be a real person to make this person really concrete and to give the team something practical and something real to focus on. Cert, you can like really have a picture of this customer, of this customer persona in your office with some characteristics we discussed before. It could be demographics, could be psychographics, could be also the watering holes. And this is what you want to have on a board so that everybody sees it every day. And then what you want to do is you want to keep that persona there until there's some major changes. So for example, if you have some new insights on how the customer persona buys, so maybe there might be new channels you need to consider, then you need to update your customer persona accordingly. Also, if you switch to a follow-on market, this is really important, because what you want to do is you want to make sure your customer persona is always up to date. So you also have to adjust your customer persona if you focus on different markets. And this is pretty much the most important points you should consider here for the end user profile and the customer persona. So what are some unique challenges and opportunities for AI startups which are doing their end user profile and their customer persona? So first of all, really make sure you consider the economic buyer mismatch. So it's very easy to explain this issue. And I think if you're already a second-time founder, you have encountered that problem if you worked in AI before. So AI end users, such as plant managers, are often not the purchasers. So they're not the economic buyers. And the economic buyers usually are senior management, which are not every day interacting with AI. So it's very difficult to find the right balance between those, because you still need to sell to both of them. You need to convince both of those parties. Secondly, there is obviously a multifunctional use of AI, which is a challenge. So AI products must account for diverse teams. So you need to have the value and the benefit of your AI model clearly outlined to those different stakeholders in the company of the decision-making unit and the buying center. But there are also some opportunities you have. So if you have tailored personas, your AI model can be really well tailored to them and can be really well adjusted to them. So this makes it very, very convenient and very useful and an effective product in the long run. And secondly, it's the AI readiness mapping. If you have the mapping ready, personas can incorporate technological literacy and openness to AI adoption to better guide market strategy. And that is really crucial what you want to achieve. You want to make sure that your strategy is always aligned with the personas. So I hope this helps you in defining your end user profile and your customer persona. And we will see each other in the next video.